Hi, my name is Dan Dowdy, business coach here at Built for the Trades. And today we're coming to you with a really exciting guest. I have Howie Metz here, a great friend of mine from Quality First Plumbing and Heating out of Denver. And Howie he really blew me away with the virtual town hall meeting he had with his team. So I thought, I love to add value on Facebook to my Facebook friends. And I thought this is a great way to just talk about it because I truly believe that Denver is about a week ahead of most markets out there because I deal with companies across the nation. And what I see Howie dealing with in his company is about a week, maybe 2 weeks ahead of a lot of markets. So thank y'all for joining us. Howie, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Howie, just so everybody, I know you know a lot of people in the industry, but just so people out there watching know you a little better, just kind of share a little bit about yourself and then also your company.
Well, my wife Lori and I started Quality First Plumbing August 1st of 2008. The last time everybody thought the world was coming to an end. Worst time to open a business. But Lori and I built a company that based on a foundation of loving our people, doing what's right. I mean, our core values are the foundation in which our business was founded. We serve the 5 metropolitan counties that encompass Denver, Colorado.
Love it. And just so everybody knows, what we're hoping you take away from this session is just to see the different details of how he put into his virtual town hall meeting in his company and hopefully influence you to do the same in your company. But before we dive into that, Howie, I really admire you as a leader. And I've seen how leadership has been done in many different companies across the nation, good or bad. But really, you have really exceeded my expectations in your leadership. So could you share some things that you've done since this COVID-19 virus has come up?
Well, one of the things that I vowed and I practice is I'm present. I'm seen, either in person with the limited staff we have at the office, and virtually with my team. We FaceTime and, we do a lot of things by email and by text, making myself out there rather than, here's the boss going to a cave and finding a safe place and hoping that everything turns out okay at the other end. I think it's important as a leader to be on the front line with those that are helping us achieve greatness.
I love it. I love it. You wrote, I guess at the very beginning, you sent a great email to your team, to your customers, really letting them know what you're doing at Quality First to protect everybody. But I love that. I think leadership is easy when times are easy, but your true leadership shows when times get difficult. And we are in uncertain times. And I think being present is one of the first principles of great leadership. So that is awesome. And diving into this virtual town hall concept, I guess the first question I have is really what prompted you to want to do a town hall session?
All of us that lead teams, whether it be a team of one other person or yourself or a team of 36 employees like we have, it's important to communicate often, communicate truthfully, communicate lovingly in a situation like this, just so people understand that we're not just being reactive, we're being proactive. 2 weeks ago, my leadership team put together an ever-changing document, which we called a disaster plan. We're in a disaster, and there are 6 levels, including this. Level 6 only says pray, because it's all you can do. But we've gotten to the point where how we're communicating with our customers, how we're screening calls, what questions are we asking? When is it okay to say no? All of my people are empowered to say no without any kind of retribution. If you're not comfortable, I don't want you there. If you don't feel well, I want you to stay home. going to share my presentation with your audience just to give you an idea. This is our first run. This is how we went through it. And it's just important to deal with the facts. Don't sugarcoat it. People don't want to hear BS. They want to hear what you have to say and what's in it for them, how it affects them and their livelihoods.
I think that what's in it for them is key, because that's just the world we live in with everybody. They are wondering that. So to kind of frame this up before you share your screen, I had the pleasure of being a part of this, which I thought was awesome. But kind of frame up the time that you did it. Talk a little bit about who you included in it, and because people out there watching are probably curious of that. And then I'd love for you to share your screen and to just go through some bullet points for a few minutes in case anybody's taking notes. They can apply some of those things for their own virtual town hall session for their company. So what time and who all was involved in this?
Sure. And let me preface my my response to you by saying, if anybody wants this PowerPoint presentation and do what you wish with it, I'm more than happy to share it. My email address is howie@plumbinghelptoday.com, and you'll see a couple other emails in this presentation. But the idea was to try and find a time that was uninvasive. People have kids, people have lives. I didn't want to do it around dinner time, so I picked 6 p.m. Had a couple of guys say, well, what if I'm out on a job? And I said, to let the customer know that the company owner is going to be addressing us through a video, and I'm required to be there. So please excuse me, and I apologize for the inconvenience. And if they don't like it, I said out loud to all my guys, if the customer doesn't like it, screw them. Because if you want to be there, I want you to be there. So, and I'm finding that that's kind of bold, but I'm finding that through these tough times, people are a little bit more flexible for the most part than they have been in the past. But as it turns out, it didn't interrupt anyone. And I made it open to any spouse, significant other, family, even if a kid has a question. I would love to hear from a kid's perspective. I asked my 8-year-old granddaughter what this meant to her, and her answer was poignant. She's so incredibly smart, unbiased opinion, but she's incredibly smart, and kids do have a very unique perspective. But the idea is to make them feel loved, to create an environment of trust, and to make them feel heard. And the way I did the presentation was I journaled the questions that I was getting from my team, from every coworker. And the question that I was asked most frequently was the first question I put on my presentation. And it just flowed from there. It was pretty cool the way it worked out. And I hope everybody who's watching this may be able to give me some suggestions, because I'm doing it again. In fact, I'm going to do it at least once this week, if not twice.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And you did it, what was it like? I think it was 6 p.m. Mountain Time is when you did your
6
session?
p.m. Mountain Time on March 26th.
Awesome. Well, without any further ado, go ahead and share the screen, Howie, and let's just briefly kind of go through a highlight of some things that you talked about, just so in case somebody else may be jotting down some notes.
Well, here's my, I am not a professional PowerPoint presenter by any means, but when everybody got to the town hall, this is the screen that they saw. And when we had a fair number of people, a total of 38 participants, I believe, were there, including you, Dan. And I invited our representative from our PEO. We use a professional employment organization as our HR, and they used it. And in fact, they published something to encourage their other clients to do it as well. But the first thing that we did was we discussed how Zoom works, and we put together a very quick, easy little follow along, because more than half of the people that participated in this town hall had never used Zoom before. So Audrey, my office manager, put this together just to make sure that we were all on the same page. We didn't want people talking over each other and the background noise, so we asked everyone to mute. Video on or off is up to you. And we showed them how chat works. And I asked that they submit their questions through chat so that I can answer them directly. And that worked out pretty awesome. In fact, I had people send me private messages and messages that the whole group can see.
Yeah, I think before you jump out of that, Howie, onto your slides, just explain, because I think a lot of people out here watching probably thinking like, I have techs or people that work for me that aren't tech savvy and they wouldn't necessarily get onto a virtual session, but you had over 30 people on here. So how did you prompt your team to download the Zoom app and to learn how to do this process?
It didn't take any persuasion of any kind. I said, this is the platform we're going to use. I recorded it so that if anyone was not able to be there, they can watch it. And the information that I shared, they had a way to get back to it. But I had zero pushback from embracing this technology. All of my techs use iPads and iPhones. So, they're ahead of the curve anyway. I did have a couple of people on Android devices that had never used this before and faced some challenges. So we started 20 minutes early to give everybody the opportunity to be able to learn how to navigate Zoom, make sure their volume was up or they weren't muted. They knew how to turn on and off their camera, how to keep the chat box open, et cetera, et cetera. You can set Zoom so that the person who's talking occupies the entire screen. Some people want to look at the whole crowd. So we gave everyone a good way to learn how to navigate it. And since we did that town hall, we did another meeting, another all company meeting. It was kind of a training, and 100% of the technicians were ready to rock and roll on Zoom when we did that. Because moving forward, that is how we're doing trainings. That's how we're doing scorecards, KPIs. We are even doing truck inspections virtually.
Man, that's great. That's great. Well, let's dive in. Go ahead and show us some questions that you had on here.
So the most common question I got was, what types of calls are we accepting? And I said pretty much business as usual. Now, I did go into this a little bit further to say we are not going to serve retirement communities, places where the people that are most at risk are housed all together. And I wasn't so worried about what they may bring to us. I was more concerned with what we, coming from the outside, might bring to them. So it was kind of the other way of thinking about, why we're not serving a call like that. But we are keeping our distance, and I'll get more into that as this goes on. What to do if a service expert feels uncomfortable? Contact your director as soon as possible. And the answer to that is not putting the person that's facing the customer in any discomfort. The director would call the customer, and we've done this a couple of times. We don't feel comfortable with the situation as it is right now. I can either reschedule this or have you call another contractor, and I apologize. And just my guy is already on his way, so there's no conflict there.
Yeah, communication's key.
We are experiencing staffing issues, and everybody who's watching this is going to. I had one service technician that was deeply, deeply afraid. He didn't want to leave his house at all, and that is absolutely fine. But I did let everyone know that we lost a few people and we're recruiting. In fact, we recruited a guy on Thursday, and he's familiar with the software, fast tracking him, and we're doing the truck inventory tomorrow, and he's hitting the road. But the other recruiting that we're doing is all virtual. I'm either doing it by Skype if the applicant is comfortable that way, FaceTime, or Zoom. No matter what, you can have a discussion with people. And I found since 100% of the people who apply for jobs make this appointment. A lot of us have the same challenges. You make an appointment to do an interview and person doesn't show. Had 100% success with this. This is going to remain in place forever. We're going to
Wow.
recruit and interview our first interview virtually every time. It's really kind of cool. I'm also made it very clear that we're going to ask service experts to work on a scheduled day off, and we may ask you to take another service call during your regular workday. Fact of the matter is, we're down a few guys, and for those who want to embrace the opportunity to work and earn money, all of my people are on performance pay, and the more they work, the more they make. And I have gotten zero pushback from this. I also assured them that I wouldn't take advantage. And when this is over, I have every intention of showing those people who gave more of their time and taking more of a risk, I'm going to show them love like they never got shown love before.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to really see what your culture's made of.
That's right. And it's really, really, really been quite enlightening to me. And I don't know why I'm surprised. I've got great people. There are people who are asking about getting stopped. There's travel restrictions and all of that. The trucks are pretty well marked and they won't get stopped. But I typed a letter that is something that comes from me saying this person works for an essential business. And this letter, we laminated it and we gave it to everyone. And this states the law specifically that gives us or gives that person the right to go where they need to go. And if there's any questions about that, I invited anyone who gets stopped to give the peace officer my cell phone number, and I'll help them out. They're not stranded. They're not out there alone. This is another really popular question. What if we get shut down? To be honest with you, there's no indication of this being a possibility, and I made everybody understand I do not have a crystal ball. I am very proud of the leadership that's being shown by our elected officials. A lot of people are going to have different opinions about that. But like you said at the very beginning, Colorado is pretty ahead of the curve. And, people are practicing social distancing and all the new words that are the thing for these times. And there's no indication that this is going to be a possibility. How long will this last? I refer to the proverbial crystal ball again. I don't know, but all trusted sources, World Health Organization is who I believe most, expect this to last 8 to 12 years or weeks.
Weeks. Oh, hopefully weeks.
Freudian.
Weeks.
8 to 12 weeks. One of the emails that I sent to all of my employees is my company does have reserves. We are not living on the edge, but we don't have unlimited reserves. And the only way we stay alive is by doing service calls, doing installs, taking care of business as much as we can, like nothing is going on. And but we'll make it through this. And I needed to make people understand that I'm aware of that. Any exposure within our office will lead us to our next level of disaster. This is 2020, and we have amazing technology. I don't need an office at all. And we can do everything off-site, remotely, virtually. Everything that we could do in the office, we could do outside of the office. So if anybody tests positive, we're closed at the office.
Yeah, and that's a great point that I think not everybody's thinking about. We're thinking about leads and generating revenue, but what if it comes internally is a big concern. So that's good.
Right. It's a huge concern. G&A Partners is our PEO, and all human resources questions and benefit questions go to G&A just as usual. That's what I pay them for, and they're really, really good at it. Gave some information to people about their 401k, that they can elect to stop contributing and restart at any time. There are some new rules that came out just today as it relates to disbursements of your 401k. And I'll leave the people to find out what applies to them and their particular situation. But I encourage people to not take loans on it. That's a bad idea. But now there's no longer the 10% penalty if you withdraw funds. So, but you can stop. And in my opinion, stocks are on sale. This is the perfect time to contribute if you can, because now you get more shares for fewer dollars, and it'll be a better bounce back when things turn around.
Yeah, this is great. This is great information. Just so everybody knows that's watching on Facebook, here towards the end, I'll give Howie a chance to answer any questions y'all may have. So feel free to comment in the boxes if you have any questions for Howie. Go ahead, Howie.
I reminded people that all regular employment rules remain. You know, we had a stipulation in place that any PTO required 2 weeks notice. I removed that stipulation from the employee handbook. So if people have PTO and they want to use it today, they can. If you're not feeling well and you have any gifted PTO, you're allowed to use it. That was a pretty good thing. People were pretty happy to hear that. However, we are reevaluating requests for vacation, and some of them may be refused due to staffing. Right now, I have a guy out on vacation, and he called me and he said, if it hits the fan, give me a call and I'm ready to go to work. So he's not going anywhere anyway. He's spending time at home with his family. What to do if I feel sick? That's another, I can't believe that wasn't one of the first questions. My number one is stay home. Number two is call your doctor for directions. And they have to know that if they miss three days or more, I need a note from a physician to come back to work. It's a release. It's a stipulation in our employee handbook. This is the point where I answered chat box questions. And there were several, and it was actually kind of cool answering those questions on the fly. Because people are smart, and they know if you're making stuff up, or if you just, I tell everybody, I'm going to give you the answer. It may not be the answer you want, but I'm going to give you the answer. And they know that I was shooting straight with them. I talked about safety and what we do, keeping it clean. How can you protect yourself? Wash your hands frequently. Keep your hands away from your face. And while this may seem humorous, it amazes me when I see people do this. Well, people pick their nose and bite their fingernails. And now's not the time to do that. And I figured I'd add a little levity to the whole thing by bringing that up. I reiterated our policy on how to call out. I'd like at least 2 hours notice. Who do they talk to? And then what do? They have to send an email to their director. Help is our customer service desk, our dispatchers. And Lori, my wife, she keeps track of attendance. And you do those things after you call. Then I gave them my information. And I prompted everyone to get a pen at the very beginning of the presentation because there's information to share. But I also invited them to call me or text me or email me if they need any of this information again. But this is my personal email address and my personal cell phone. And it's Lori, my wife's personal email and personal cell phone. Then I gave the contacts for our HR department. Benefits questions go to Melissa specifically. HR questions go to Haley. And if they have any questions, they do have a portal. This is their portal. And if they needed to reset their password, this happens to be the same place they see their pay stubs anyway. So most people are very familiar with logging into this website. And then I ended it by saying, we're concerned for your health and safety. We will continue to communicate, and we need the same from you. Do your part to stay safe and healthy. And that's the way it ended. It took an hour and 14 minutes, but it was very, very well received. And I'm looking forward to doing it again, just so that I can stay in front of my people.
Yeah, I think having this Zoom platform that your team's already used to using now at this point is just so valuable for the future. And now during the session, you even showed a little bit of emotion, because I know that this COVID-19 is affecting everybody in all different ways, with the being stuck in our houses and not be able to see certain people. But I just want to encourage you, like as somebody watching or as a team member, feeling that passion from you is huge. People want a leader that's real, not one that's always right or perfect. And at the end of the day, everybody just wants to feel appreciated. So you did a really good job presenting that. And I wanted to ask you this too. After going through this again and thinking about it, is there anything different you would have done that you want to share with people out there?
In this particular presentation, the answer is no. It really went well. I did spend a significant amount of time on it. I edited it quite a bit because I didn't want to overload people with information. But I've already journaled a lot of things for version 2, if you will, for my next town hall, because I am getting questions and people are growing more and more concerned. We've experienced a small dip in business for a short period of time, but we're back. We had probably the best Sunday we've had in a year and a half yesterday. So, the need is there. We're responding. Our customers are appreciative of the things that we're doing to keep them safe and in mind. Every call that we listen to, people are appreciative of the 3 questions we ask. They have to answer the questions in the affirmative. They're yes answers, or excuse me, they have to answer the questions in the no, in the negative. Are you feeling sick? Does anyone in the home have a fever, a headache, or sneezing? It has to be a no. Have you traveled out of the country in the last 2 weeks? The answer has to be no. We're just embracing all of those things, and people are appreciative of the fact we're asking, because I'm sending a healthy technician to you. My primary concern is to get him out of the place healthy as he went in.
Yeah, that's first and foremost key in running any business, is taking care of our team. And this has been huge value, Howie. I really, really appreciate you sharing your screen and sharing so much knowledge with everybody watching out there. In times like this, it's times when we need to come together as a community and share information that hopefully can add value and can accelerate somebody that wants to do something similar to what you're doing. So really awesome that you shared this. Is there anything in closing that you want to share with people watching?
Well, the advice that I got and that I'm using is those of you that are business owners, I'm sure you've worked really hard to establish credit. And if I went down the list of vendors, the ones that I owed the most to the ones I owed the least, to ask them if there was any kind of flexibility, and every single one of them displayed not only appreciation for me asking before I need it, but reaffirm the fact that I do have good credit. My biggest material supplier, we spend almost 6 figures a month. He said, Howie, if you don't pay me anything for the next year, I won't cut you off because I know you're not going to stick me. Those were his words. Wow. If you have that kind of relationship, man, now's the time. Other than that, stay healthy, pay attention so that you can lead those who are relying on you to lead them.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I just want to thank everybody for watching today. And if you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to me at Built for the Trades on Facebook or Instagram. Also, Dan at Built for the Trades is my email, and Howie so generously said that you could email him directly if you wanted this content, and it's Howie@plumbinghelptoday.com. That right? We're good, Howie?
That's exactly right, Dan. I can't express enough that you trusted me enough to be your guest on this. As one of my mentors and one of my coaches, I feel very blessed by sharing this. And I extend that invitation without condition. Anybody needs anything, even if you're around the corner and you compete with me, I'm happy to share this stuff. And if you got something you think I missed, please tell me about it.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you, Howie, for coming on, everybody for watching, and have a great evening.